Hi guys, welcome back to Propwash episode 2. Before moving on, I have to say I was delighted to see all the positive comments on the new format and hope you'll continue to enjoy watching these videos. This one's a bit longer than the last, so please stick with it for the important club information at the end. If you haven't already done so, then please hit the like and subscribe buttons below so you can receive notifications of the new videos as they are published. So on Sunday the 10th of May, following the most confusing prime ministerial announcement ever.
So we are saying don't go to work, go to work. Don't take public transport, go to work, don't go to work. Stay indoors. If you can work from home, go to work.
It became apparent that there was to be a very slight easing of the lockdown under certain circumstances. On Monday the 11th of May, the BMFA issued an email with some very good advice on how to fly safely and advocated that within this advice we could allow a small number of pilots to fly as long as we were 2 meters apart. We used hand sanitizers and wore gloves and masks, etc. And of course we were not suffering any symptoms of COVID-19. So after some discussion, it was decided to open the field flying once more. Yay! The next day, they clarified the position, saying that only solo flying was permitted, unless it was with a member of your own household, and that we shouldn't make arrangements to meet up with other pilots. Boo! Again,
don't go to work, go outside, don't go outside, and then we will or won't, something or other.
So since it appears that no one in power could make up their mind, we decided to bite the bullet, after soaking it in Dettol of course, and go for it, relying on the common sense of our members to follow our rules and remain socially distant with no more pilots than there are cable drums to work from. We had a slow build-up of members over the following few days as they made tentative trips to the field. The following weekend the weather was awful, but on the bank holiday it was magnificent. Clear blue skies, light winds attracted a good number of pilots and many models. Fortunately, our fabulous fixed wing field provides plenty of space to spread out, and everyone was very careful to maintain the correct recommended 2 meters distance. Some, however, did forget their sunblock, and we ended up with a delightful shade of pink. Now I did promise that the first good weekend we would celebrate our return to the fields with a barbecue, but regrettably, despite the good weather, we would have been in breach of the COVID-19 emergency regulations, and so the barbecue is on hold until further notice. Our printed Propwash, which of course is so 2019, a popular section has always been seen at the field. So without further ado, here we go with the video version. Steve Jones has a reputation within the club for designing and scratch building some very unusual models. His twin boom EDF Superjet has even become a free plan in RCM&E magazine. His collection of weird and wonderful designs always brings a smile to my face, and watching his models progress from the prototype to the finished article is fascinating. One of his latest projects is the revival of a vintage kit, the Keelcraft Gyron. This was a 36-inch span, high-wing, single-channel trainer from the 1960s. Steve found an original kit and without using any of the original parts, rekitted it using new balsa and faithfully produced a wonderful model. I'll let him explain.
So this is it, it's been covered in tissue, and I've tried to emulate where I can the original single-channel yoke and drive shaft, which you can probably see on the back there. The only difference obviously is instead of a small 049 IC engine, I've put a modern electric engine in there, and obviously it doesn't have single channel on it. It will be dual channel. I've got 2 tailplanes. This one is fixed as per the original, so there's no control over that, just over the rudder. However, if I change that one for one that I have elevators for, I have an elevator control as well, which is hidden. So when you look externally, there are no rods that you could see that will control it. It's done internally. So I'm hoping to maiden this today.
Maiden did not go exactly to plan, but with a bit of adjustment I'm sure he'll get it sorted. Great work, Steve. Since producing the video version of Propwash, I have discovered that Steve has his own YouTube channel and has posted lots of interesting how-to videos. I thoroughly recommend that you take a look. I've popped a link to the channel below, so don't forget to like and subscribe and to his channel and help Steve work his way up through the rankings. Kevin Torreville has been successfully flying a Volantax Phoenix 2-meter power glider. Kevin has fitted an FrSky GRX6 receiver, which has built-in vario and altimeter. It works directly with the telemetry of his Jumper T16 Pro transmitter, giving audible signals indicating rates of climb and height notifications. Here it is in action.
The fast beeps are when it's rising, and the dead tone is when it's descending. So when it's in lift, it'll beep repeatedly like that, and when it's in a dive, it'll sound a bit like that.
And that's built into the transmitter?
It is, yeah, it's all fed back through telemetry from the aircraft, yeah.
Incidentally, the Jumper T16 Pro radio is becoming quite popular at the field and uses the same OpenTX operating system as the Taranis. It has the advantage of being able to operate with all common protocols, so if your favoured system is Futaba, Spectrum or FrSky, you can use your existing receivers without the need for a different transmitter mode. It has colour screen, sound and haptic warnings, telemetry and Hall effect gimbals. And if that's not enough, the £160 asking price is fantastic value for all that technology. Now at the moment, I believe they're in very short supply. I got mine from Unmantech a few months ago, but other UK stockists are Quadcopters UK and HobbyRC.com. Or you can find them from Banggood, the Chinese site. However, most of the sites only have them on back order. If you really want one tomorrow and don't mind paying a premium, there are a few left on Amazon at £211. Paul Travis and Ian O'Loughlin and Mehrdad Bakhtiari all brought along big petrol models, each eager to see daylight under the wings. Paul has an 89-inch laser and a 91-inch Edge 540 from Skywing Models, and Ian had an Edge 540, and Mehrdad Bakhtiari has a Pilot RC Extra 300. I've posted on YouTube short videos of each, and you can find them by searching our YouTube channel. It's an exclusive channel, FlyRCBMMFC. Not everything went as planned, and there is another video of Ian's second model, a big RC Pilot Edge, which flew a perfect maiden but sadly came to grief on the second flight. However, considering how many flights were made over the first week since we reopened, I was really impressed that it was the only mishap I witnessed. Now I'm not sure whether it's down to the reliability of modern equipment or simply the skill of our current bunch of members. Ian Davis brought down a model that he recently acquired at a bargain basement price. It's an electric powered warbird of uncertain origin. Alan thought it might be a Mustang P51, but on closer inspection we finally decided it was a complete flight of fancy by the builder. The wing and tail feathers are most certainly taken from a Ben Buckle Super 60, and the builder has made a decent job of creating a cartoon scale variant. I've seen a video of the low wing version of the 60, and if this one flies as well as that one did, it should look really good in the air. In the last video we took a look at some of the models under construction, and I'm delighted to say that Mike Gore overcame the problems that all new builders encounter and made a pretty good job of his electric pylon racer. Not the tidiest of covering jobs, but very good for a first time effort. Remember, you only learn new skills by practicing them. Its maiden flight proved more than a little challenging for the test pilots Travis and Griffiths, but eventually grit and determination overcame adversity and it proved to be an absolute pocket rocket. It'll certainly give the multitude of EF extras at the club a run for their money. Mike, of course, is still building up the courage to fly it himself, but since he shaved off his beard, I think like Samson, having his hair cut off, he's lost the inner strength. Ian O'Loughlin is persevering with his Defiant, and he's making good headway on what will be a long journey to completion. Of course, now we can fly again, I suspect the build will slow up a bit. By the way, congratulations to Ian for raising over £400 for the NHS by shaving his head, and thanks to all the members who contributed to that total. Steve Cardew's 80-inch Spitfire by Seagull Models is looking mighty fine. Powered by a dual Sky GA4000 motor and 12S 6000 mAh lipos, this setup produces 2400 watts. Steve has measured the thrust and it pulls about 9 kilograms, which is about the model's all-up weight, so giving a 1:1 power ratio. Now that's the kind of power a 3D pilot is looking for in a model, so I only hope that Steve doesn't lose sight of the fact that this is a scale aircraft and should be flown in a scale manner, particularly as he's spent considerable time on the scale details, such as handcrafting a new and lighter tailwheel, and as well as articulating the pilot's head to turn to the side as he applies rudder. While preparing this video, the latest edition of RCM&E landed on my doormat, and there on page 19 front and centre is a lovely article about Peter Maws' FK23 Bantam biplane. Peter has now produced a 5-sheet plan and created a full website including a massive information on the history and the building of the model. The article extolled the virtues of this model, claiming a super stable performance. Really? My mind goes back to its maiden flight and a somewhat damp end as it became duck food in the big pond on the golf course. Since then, of course, Peter has straightened the wonky wing, added several refinements to enable it to match the poetic license granted to the editors of the RCM&E. A link to the site is down below and definitely worth a look. Now, if you haven't fallen asleep yet, I'll turn my attention to some club matters. I'm delighted to announce that over the last few weeks we have enrolled 4 new members: Steve Bennett, Kevin Anderson, Alex Phelan and Olu Kuye, all of whom have been down to the field and on numerous occasions and are enjoying our facilities. We also had a visit on Bank Holiday Monday from Mick Johnston and Jay Gardner, who fly helicopters at the Blackburn Club. As their club field has effectively been shut down by the council for the foreseeable future, they decided to pop over to Somister to take a peek with a view to joining. I met them in the evening when all the fixed-wing flyers had had enough, and the lads treated me to a splendid display of 3D heli flying. They checked out the heli field as well and were most impressed, so much so that they joined up the very next day. On the following Sunday afternoon, they returned and brought with them 3 more chaps to keep them company and to show off the new flying site. One more of those has already joined, Andy Jones. In fact, it's been quite some time since we had such a gathering of the helicopterists on a weekend. So now, in addition to a boost to our rather underused heli field, one of these chaps, Mick Johnson, is an area chief examiner. So all you A and B certificate hopefuls out there will have no excuse for not taking the test in the coming months. By the way, Mick can do fixed wing tests as well as helicopters. Our WhatsApp group, Who's Flying Today, or Who's Flying Again, is now going great guns and has some 43 members taking part, and that's nearly half of the active membership. As well as discovering who's going down to the field, there are copious amounts of questions and answers, and as well as much light-hearted banter. During the lockdown, I'm sure it was a lifeline to many members. Indeed, several members who were previously not part of the group decided to join. Now that's a decision that a couple of them regretted almost immediately when their phones began constantly pinging. So if you're one of those who could take no more and promptly left the group, please rejoin, but this time turn off the notification tone. That way you can still keep up by checking the feed at your leisure, and you won't be driven to distraction by your pinging phone. If you can't figure out how to do that, you only have to email me and I'll do my best to help. In the next week or so, we'll be sending out parking permits, which must be displayed on your windscreen. We hope by combining these with the appropriate signage, we will discourage casual visitors. Once you receive them, please put them on your car dashboard so the farmer knows you're a member and won't set his missus on you. Finally, please ensure that you lock up as you leave the field, and remember to take down the windsock and put the chairs under the bushes at the back of the pits to avoid acting as an invitation to party. Well, that's all for now, and I'll see you again next month with more news, views and information about the best club in the Northwest. Cheerio.